Thank you for joining us on Newswatch tonight. Hoping you had a great day today. My name is Melissa Oduor. Boniface Murevi is on the sign language. Newswatch begins now. A new survey by research firm TIFA has ranked Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki as the top performing cabinet secretary in President William Ruto's administration. According to the survey released today, Musalia Mudavadi, who is the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary, is the second best performing Cabinet Secretary, while Education CS Ezekiel Machogu was ranked third best performing in the survey. The poll further shows that 84% of Kenyans feel the current economic conditions are worse compared to 1 year ago. Alice Diana begins our bulletin tonight with that story.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has yet again been ranked as the best performing CS in Kenya Kwanza government by TIFA Research Company. According to TIFA's new survey, Kindiki scored 65%, followed by Foreign Affairs CS Musalia Mudavadi, who scored 62%, while Education CS Ezekiel Machogu came in the third position with 58%. TIFA had previously ranked Kindiki as the best performing cabinet secretary in similar polls conducted in March and July this year. In the poll released today, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nahumicha earned the fourth position, receiving a solid 57% approval rating, while Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen rounded off the top 5 cabinet secretaries with a 57% approval rating. Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir was rated as the worst performing CS at 19%, followed by Gender Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa and Treasury CS Njuguna Ndungu at 23% and 24% respectively. The TIFA report further states that 84% of Kenyans feel the current economic conditions are worse compared to 1 year ago, while 87% of Kenyans have reduced personal expenditure due to the cost of living. The main categories of reduced expenditure due to high cost of living include transport, clothing, and entertainment. This as Kenyans have meanwhile given President William Ruto a positive score in protecting forests, supporting agriculture, combating pollution and contamination, as well as encouraging tourists and investment in tourism. They, however, scored him poorly in reducing Kenya's debt and donor financial dependence, reducing corruption, creating jobs, and reducing the cost of living. And when asked about the greatest challenge they think Kenya Kwanza administration faces, respondents cited inflation and cost of living at 39%, corruption at 15%, debt repayment at 8%, opposition pressure at 4%, declining value of shilling at 3%, and unemployment at 2%. On political parties' popularity, UDA was rated as the most popular party at 31%, ODM came in second at 22%, followed by Jubilee at 4%. This even as 58% of Kenyans believe no political party cares for their welfare. The survey was conducted on 3,009 respondents between November 25th and December 7th this year through phone interviews. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
President William Ruto has presided over the official opening of the second annual Kenya Diaspora Investment Conference at the KICC. The three-day conference aims to highlight and present investment opportunities across various sectors of the economy to members of the diaspora while engaging in discussions regarding the legal and regulatory framework related to diaspora investments. The conference is themed to Jenge Kenya, Bridging Borders, Building Futures. Our reporter Nicholas Kivite has more details.
Speaking at the event, President William Ruto said his government has planned ambitious strategies to help the Kenyans living abroad to invest in the country in an effort to improve the Kenyan economy. He added that his government will work with the diaspora to look for job opportunities in other countries as a way of fighting unemployment crisis.
We are keen to work with you to harness your networks in order to channel more investments to Kenya and create opportunities to move this country forward.
The president has also promised to ensure that the diaspora members have security in their host countries to enable them fully participate in social and economic developments at home.
For the diaspora to be involved in the socio-economic development back home, they have to be secure and flourishing in their host countries. As Government of Kenya, the security and safety of all citizens is our foremost commitment and most fundamental obligation, without which every other endeavor, including the conversation we are having here about investment, would not be possible.
In addition, the president noted that the Kenya Kwanza government has improved the provision of services through digitization, a move he says has enabled the Kenyans living abroad to access government services easily without having to travel back home.
I can confirm, as indeed my PS diaspora has, that we have expanded digital provision of public services to encompass 14,000 government services. And it is our commitment to ensure full digitization, which has not only enhanced efficiency and integrity in the provision of government services, but also improved revenue collection.
The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who is also the Minister for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, congratulated the Kenyans living and working abroad, noting that they contribute a lot to the growth of the Kenyan economy.
When we talk about broadening the space, it's to bring in capital, to bring in technology, to bring in resources that you may not be able to raise on the local front. Now, it's this kind of engagement that I'll be putting across to you as members of the diaspora to enrich that debate on the local scene so that the broader aspects of us drawing capital and bringing in FDI can be seen from a broader perspective.
On her part, Nakuru County Governor Susan Kihika has called upon the diaspora to invest in various sectors that have market gaps in various counties.
County governments are therefore seeking partnership with you and your networks to accelerate the growth of counties as industrial hubs.
Reporting for Op Newswatch, my name is Nicholas Kivite.
Now, the Ministry of Energy has been directed to comprehensively deal with the challenge of power failure. President William Ruto, who chaired the cabinet meeting, said frequent power outages were hurting Kenya's investment profile. The cabinet discussed the matter extensively and resolved that the transmission line system should be unbundled so that power failure in one part does not affect the entire country. To deal with the overloading of transmission lines that cause outages, the Bomet Narok line will be built at 66 billion shillings from the Africa Development Bank. Additionally, a 200 billion shilling Kenyan solar power project at the Seven Forks Dam has now been designated to provide a safeguard against power failure. The resolutions come 2 days after a nationwide blackout hit the country, plunging the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in darkness for close to 6 hours. The occurrence happening for the third time in 6 months. Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, while addressing the press on the matter, had blamed overloading of the national electricity grid to the power failure, saying another one was bound to happen again. Bungoma County Governor Ken Lusaka has led women's groups in the launch of the Bungoma County Women's Manifesto under the umbrella of Eco Network Africa and pledged his government's cooperation to help them achieve their goals. Addressing the groups, Deputy Governor Jennifer Mbatiani urged relevant stakeholders to partner with the county government to achieve the manifesto, at the same time calling upon women to be at the forefront to face in addressing the increasing rate of teenage pregnancies in the county. Grace Sahati reports.
Women's groups in Bungoma County under the Eco Network Africa organization have launched the Women's Manifesto in an event that was presided over by Governor Ken Lusaka. Governor Lusaka pointed out that the manifesto has come at the right time, noting that data indicates that Bungoma County is leading in cases of gender-based violence and teenage pregnancies. According to him, it is imperative that all stakeholders work together to find a way to solve the crisis.
We have an assault on two fronts. One is early pregnancy, and the second one is gender-based violence. The statistics I was looking at, and when you get time to go through that manifesto, the statistics I was looking at are very scary. You look at Kandui, we are talking about pregnancy, early pregnancies between 12 years and between 10 to 14 years and 15 to 14 years. And those who are holding the title are Kandui constituents. Kandui is leading, followed closely by Mount Elgon. This is also very surprising. Followed very closely with Webuye West. Followed closely with Tongoreni.
His sentiments were echoed by Bungoma Deputy Governor Jennifer Mbatiani, who also expressed dismay at the alarming rate of teenage pregnancies in Bungoma County.
Sisi kama wamama tuna huzuni wakati tunasikia Bungoma County inaongoza kwa mambo ya mimba za mapema. If you are a mother, you know what it means. I know we have fathers, but the person who feels the pain more is a woman. And no wonder the Bible says kwamba mtoto ambaye ni mbaya ni mzigo wa nani? Wa mama. Lakini ule mtoto ambaye ni mzuri ni faraja kwa baba yake.
Mbatiani at the same time called upon leaders in the county to respect and support each other as they continue to serve the residents.
I want to appeal to all the leaders that it is possible for us to be in those leadership positions. And that can only happen if we hold each other's hand, if we work together as women, if we respect each other, if we learn how to talk well about our fellow leaders. I want to assure you that we will go far.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
And the criminal case against embattled controller of budget Margaret Nyakango has been stopped. This is after the Mombasa Law Court Trial Magistrate Alex Ithuku was told that there is a High Court order issued stopping Nyakango's prosecution. The High Court issued the orders last week after a case filed by West Mugirango Member of Parliament Stephen Mogaka through lawyer Danstan Omari challenged Nyakango's prosecution. Now, in the court papers, Mogaka argued that the arrest and prosecution of Nyakango was a violation of her rights. Nyakango was arrested in Mombasa on the 5th of this month, where the DPP approved multiple criminal charges against her and 10 others. Magistrate Alex Ithuku has directed that the matter be mentioned on the 29th of May next year. The UDA party has welcomed leaders from the Ilchemus community who have announced their defection from the opposition. Led by the community chairperson Joshua Ngochila, the community leaders told UDA Party Secretary General Cleopas Malala that the president's commitment to stem out insecurity in Baringo County, where they come from, was the main reason for their defection to join the ruling party. And speaking when he paid Malala a courtesy call in his office, the leaders also lauded President Ruto for his recognition of the community in projects and for availing government opportunities for the members of the marginalized community. To some international news now, Russia has attacked the Ukrainian capital Kyiv overnight with 10 ballistic missiles. Reports say all the missiles have been intercepted by air defense, but debris fell on residential areas. According to Kyiv's city military administration, 51 civilians were wounded in the missile attacks that damaged homes and a children's hospital. The attacks come as President Volodymyr Zelensky pleaded in Washington for more help for his country. Let's take a short break now. We will be back with the day's business news and lessons from the entrepreneur.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Mtoto gani katika hii ulimwengu ameitwa Mungu mkuu?
Nasema akasema audhu billahi.
Hata leo usisema audhu billahi, tafadhali usikize.
Yesu ndiye njia. Uchambuzi wa masuala tata katika Biblia na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
We don't believe that Christ was crucified. Christ was taken right to heaven by 4 angels, 4 archangels.
Kama Muhammad ndiye alikuwa wa kwanza kuleta dini ya Kiislamu na alikuja after Jesus, sasa inawezekanaje Ibrahimu awe Muislamu, Musa awe Muislamu?
Yesu ndiye njia. Jadala wa moja kwa moja kati ya walimu wa Kikristo na dini zingine.
Wanasema Mwenyezi Mungu ana mtoto. Jambo hilo wanasema limeleta jambo ambalo linachukiza.
Siri ya Mungu ambaye Mungu amejidhihirisha katika mili. Hii yote ni ukafiri.
Mmefanya makosa makubwa sana kusema kwamba Isa ibn Maryam ni Mungu wa pili na Allah ambaye ameumba mbingu na ardhi mkasema ni Mungu wa tatu.
Yesu ndiye njia. Jumamosi kuanzia saa 1:30 jioni kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
It's finally here. The breakfast show that will kickstart your morning with a message of hope, coupled up with wholesome music, and of course, captivating conversations that matter to you.
We shall touch on topics on law, relationships, the Christian walk, and in addition, we will also be keeping you up to date with news and all the trending topics.
Join me, Beatrice Watare,
and me, Joe Dishoro, every Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Hope at Dawn.
Only on Hope TV, where you look
and live.
Welcome back. The Diamond Trust Bank has opened 7 new branches this quarter, strategically located across Kenya, in intensified expansion drive to bring products and services closer to customers. In a statement, the bank said 7 branches mark a pivotal moment in the bank's commitment to expanding accessibility and providing personalized financial services across its core customer segments, small and medium enterprises and the retail sectors. Now, the 7 branches located in Gikomba, Isli's BBS Mall, Ongata Rongai, Karen, Hardy, Kenol Muranga, Kapsabet and Bondeni in Mombasa. DTB Group CEO Nasim Devji emphasized the bank's commitment to understanding and meeting the unique needs of the communities it serves. The bank plans to open 3 more branches before the end of the year at the Global Trade Center GTC in Nairobi, Karatina and Nanyuki, bringing the total number of branches to 84 in Kenya and 156 across East Africa. Our experts advise entrepreneurs to think big as they set up their businesses. And with the big business, there is need to think of business continuity. Tonight's episode of Lessons from the Entrepreneur is a recap of the story of Muharata Agro-Processing Company, whose founder successfully passed it down to his children. We also learn from Foods That Heal, whose owner, Emily Omondi, acquired the skills from her family background and is already passing them down to her children. This coming up shortly. We're wrapping up Lessons from the Entrepreneur in this month of December 2023 as we usher in a new month and a new season for stories from you, our entrepreneur. But before we do, here are some of the key episodes of Lessons from the Entrepreneur that you really enjoyed and some key lessons that you take home with you. My name is Melissa Oduor, and this is Lessons from the Entrepreneur.
Annie Kamau. I run Muharata Food Company Limited. It's a family business. That's the name Muharata. It's a clan name. And the business started in the early 80s, but was incorporated, registered in 83. So we have a birthday from 83. And we are turning 40 this year. We are excited. And we fabricate equipment for farmers, for businessmen, for agro-processing from after the farm. So we don't do on-farm machinery, but we do a lot of off-farm machinery. Right from threshing, to processing of oils, seeds, grains, and many others.
The story of Muharata Foods captivated the imagination of many due to the nature of the post-harvest agro-processing factory, which is a family business currently being run and operated by the family's second generation. The 40-year-old factory specializes in making prefabricated machinery used by farmers countrywide. Mudhoni, who is the daughter of the founder of Muharata, shares some key insights that are helpful to ensure that the company's legacy is carried on to the coming generation.
Many family businesses in Kenya, I don't know about the rest of Africa, but many do not go beyond that first generation. And the issue is why? It's because many Africans choose not to talk about death and see death as taboo. I would wish to appeal to matriarchs and patriarchs who are the first generation of that business to talk to their heirs, their children, openly about how the business is run, so that you can create interest in that second generation to want to work in that place. Because the fact of the matter is that these businesses, once you incorporate the younger mind, the older mind, that exchange will grow from one generation to another, and thus moving from one customer base to another customer base. Now, for the patriarchs and matriarchs who start the businesses, giving that space of openness allows your children to want to be involved. Once they get involved, they start giving ideas. Please allow those ideas to happen, whether wrong or right, because that's the only way a child will learn, through a failure. I must say, my father allowed us to fail in many ways. But when you fail, when it happens to you, then that is when you you learn. In my language, we will say, you only learn when you have done it yourself, when it has happened to you. Then that means you correct it and it becomes, After that, I would say that keep books of accounts open. Don't hide too much, because we are not all here to last forever. If my father never used to keep things open to us, this place would not have gone on. We only closed on the day we buried him. We did not close a day before. We did not close the day after. We were open for business because business must go on. So my urge is for patriarchs and matriarchs to sit down with their children, talk about how the business is run, take ideas from them. Then that way there is continuation, because you are aware of what is going on and what needs to go on. After all, that is where your bread gets buttered. Yeah?
And during the episode on Foods That Heal with Emily Omondi, a niche entrepreneur who specializes in special food orders, this was also captured. Emily says she is determined to pass down her cooking skills to her children, having learned the same from her parents.
I've grown up loving to taste, to have different tastes of food. Like when it is omena, I don't want to taste like a normal omena, like the normal one. I want to do something to make it taste like a whole different, like omena. So it is just the experience of the kitchen and the creativeness. Actually speaks about how God is so diverse in his own way. Like in the kitchen is the place whereby there is a lot of creativity. One thing, you make it a whole different taste and everything. And also the spaces where I grew up into, because to the homes where I grew up, because in a different family, I do the cooking, then again another family I do the cooking. Then and then my son loves good food. Like, he goes to school But he's like, Mommy, today food was bad. Me, I didn't eat it. And I've come to eat. So he loves good food. So that one makes me also want to do more food, like cook the food like for him so that it is, I don't know, like my daughter does not care. But my son, like, Mommy, me ataka food poor. So like pilau days and all that, like he's like, Mommy, you've not made pilaus today. Or maybe Sundays we do chapatis and he's like, Mommy, kwani ulisahau chapati. He's just like that. So he also motivates me to cook. And it is just a whole family thing. Seeing him, how he gets happy. And also seeing people when they get happy. Yeah, but I would say that is also inborn because it came from our mother.
Kenya has been treated to family feuds by huge businesses that have led to the collapse of these companies, perhaps due to that lack of intentionality to ensure strong systems that pass down the business ownership from one generation to another. Supermarket chain Tuskys is a notable case, with reports that a succession issue caused its massive collapse. The take-home lesson for business owners has rung true, that there is need to create businesses that do not end with them when they are gone. The continuity of a business is paramount.
Yesterday I was listening to Chick-fil-A, the son to the founder, and their story of Chick-fil-A, as well as if you think about Chick-fil-A, if you think about KFC, if you think about McDonald's, they all started as a mom and pop kind of restaurant. But the difference between Chick-fil-A and Karaoke or Wafula or Odhiambo running his own restaurant or his own chicken business in Kenya is that Chick-fil-A had a growth mindset. They had big thinking mindset. They're starting small, but they're thinking big. And so that's the first thing that I think we have to embrace as business owners who are ready and eager and curious about growth. What got us here will not get us there. What got you here will not get you there. So the first thing that we have to be comfortable with is big thinking, and it may look like a simple matter, but you may be surprised how big thinking is not easy. We reach a certain ceiling and we say, this is as far as I go. The appetite for big thinking in East Africa, in Kenya, in Africa is not that big. It's not that big. And so I'm even also challenging myself to go beyond my fears, beyond my limitations. And that therefore means that I can't achieve it alone. Chick-fil-A had to get support. Right now from one shop to about 3,000 restaurants, and in some places they own real estate, in some places they do mall outlets. And so if you're to think about where you are, how far can you imagine your growth? Because, a friend of mine who is in pet food, an American investor, a businessman, told me the other day that you have to start with the end in mind. And he challenged me to read that book, Starting with the End in Mind, or Building with the End in Mind. And my challenge to us today is, how do we perceive the end?
For Lessons from an Entrepreneur, my name is Melissa Oduor.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Did they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? You don't meet of the word.
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
My best part about being a Hope FM listener was Hope Through the Night. My radio was always on at night, just worshiping and getting the sermons on the top of every hour, and it really made me a stronger worshiper. It made me a stronger worshiper. My best part about being a Hope FM staff has to be treasure hunt with the boys and girls every Saturday morning, being Auntie Rhoda. Oh, I just loved teaching the children. There's a child who wrote in her composition, she was writing about her family, and she wrote one of her aunties is Auntie Rhoda. I was so happy because I'd never met her, but they knew me as their auntie, and just teaching them in the ways of the Lord. So I really thank God for every moment I spent at Hope FM, and even for now, being impacted as a listener.
To sports now, the African Women's Basketball League being held in Alexandria, Egypt, unfolded into a breathtaking showdown between Equity Hawks and the ASPAC of Benin. Each team asserted their dominance on the court. The teams traded impressive three-point shots, thrilling the audience. And by the end of the second quarter, ASPAC of Benin led at 39-35. However, the Hawks surged ahead. Their offensive prowess led by their team captain, Melissa Otieno, who delivered a flurry of three-pointers, widening the gap to 83-69. And as the final buzzer resonated through the stadium, Equity Hawks celebrated a triumphant, clinching their maiden win in the Africa Women's Basketball League with a resounding 87-69 victory. Manchester United were knocked out of the Champions League at the group stage after a 1-0 defeat by Bayern Munich at Old Trafford, becoming the first English side in history to concede 15 goals in the Champions League group stage. Even though Bayern were already comfortable winners of Group A, United were still unable to fulfill their part of the bargain on a night of bitter disappointment. United won just one of their 6 group games in the competition, and defeat against Bayern means they also missed the chance to drop into the Europa League by finishing third. And the UEFA Champions League group stage will end tonight with the last 8 fixtures of match day 6. Borussia Dortmund and PSG will lock horns at the Signal Iduna Park. Dortmund's fine 3-1 success at Milan rubber-stamped their place in the round of 16, and Paris will join them as group winners if they can beat the German outfit for the second time in this section. Newcastle and AC Milan will be keeping a close eye on the PSG scoreline, but they have to win regardless if they have to have any hope of snatching a place in the round of 16. The other fixtures slated for tonight include Leipzig versus Young Boys, Crvena Zvezda versus Man City, Atletico de Madrid versus Lazio, Celtic versus Feyenoord, and FC Porto versus Shakhtar Donetsk, and Antwerp versus Barcelona. That's how we wrap up Newswatch tonight. Many thanks for your company. I have been your anchor, Melissa Oduor. Boniface Moretti has been on the sign language tonight. Have a good night.